When Emma Rodriguez faces losing her dying mother to medical bills she can't afford, mysterious offer changes everything. Marry a stranger for $1 million. What she doesn't know is that her fake husband is Julian Blackstone, one of America's youngest billionaires with a dark secret that could destroy them both. This is the story of a contract marriage that became real love. It's built on lies that demanded the ultimate sacrifice. Welcome back, dear friends and story lovers. Tonight, we bring you a tale where love is tested, secrets come to light, and fate takes an unexpected turn. Every moment will pull you in deeper, and every choice could change everything. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And if this story touches your heart, subscribe, share it with someone who believes in true love, and hit the bell so you never miss the next chapter. The fluorescent lights of Mount Sinai Hospital buzzed like angry wasps, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow. Emma Rodriguez pressed her palms against the cold plastic chair, trying to stop her hands from shaking as she stared at the medical. Bills scattered across her lap. $400,000. The numbers blurred through her tears. Miss Rodriguez. Dr. Patterson's voice cut through her spiral of panic. His tired eyes held the same expression he'd worn all week. The look doctors gave when they delivered impossible news too many times. Emma looked up, her throat raw from crying. Doctor, please. There has to be another option. Experimental treatment is your mother's only chance. Without it, ... He didn't finish. Didn't need to. Through the glass partition, Emma could see her mother's still form connected to machines that beeped in steady rhythm, each sound a reminder that time was running out. Rosa Rodriguez, who had scrubbed floors for 20 years to put Emma through art school, who had never asked for anything, was dying. Emma stood on unsteady legs. 2 weeks? 2 weeks, he confirmed, then left her alone with her impossible choice. She walked to her mother's room, taking Rosé's fragile hand in hers. The woman who had raised her single-handedly after her father abandoned them looked so small, so breakable. Mama, she whispered, I don't know how, but I'm going to save you. 3 days later, Emma's phone rang as she sorted through bank rejection letters. The caller ID showed an unknown number. Emma Rodriguez. The woman's voice was cultured, professional, with an accent Emma couldn't place. Yes. My name is Catherine Mills. I represent a private client who has an unusual business proposition for you. Can you meet me at the Plaza Hotel at 4? Emma's heart hammered. She'd applied for every job she could find, from waitressing to cleaning services. What kind of proposition? It's the kind that could solve all your financial problems? Ask for the Meridian Suite. The Plaza Hotel's opulent lobby made Emma acutely aware of her second-hand dress and worn shoes. Catherine Mills was everything Emma wasn't. Polished, expensive, intimidating. She gestured for Emma to sit in a suite overlooking Central Park. You're familiar with contract marriages, Miss Rodriguez? Emma's blood turned to ice. I'm sorry. What? Catherine opened a leather portfolio with the efficiency of someone accustomed to shocking people. My client requires a wife for 1 year. It would be legal, but purely business. You would receive $500,000 upon signing, with an additional $500,000 when the year concludes. The room tilted. $1 million, enough to save her mother and secure their future forever. Why me? Emma managed. You were recommended by your art professor at NYU. Someone with integrity, he said. Someone genuine. Catherine slid a thick contract across the table. You would live in my client's residence, attend social functions as his wife, and maintain the appearance of a happy marriage. No physical intimacy required. You would have complete privacy. Emma stared at the contract, her mother's face flashing. In her mind, the machines, the bills, the countdown. Can I meet him first? Catherine smiled for the first time. Tomorrow morning, Central Park, Bethesda Fountain, 10 o'clock sharp. Look for a man in a gray suit. As Emma left the plaza with the contract burning in her hands, she had no idea that in 24 hours, she would be face to face with one of the most powerful men in America, and that their carefully planned arrangement would become something neither of them could control. Central Park buzzed with morning joggers and dog walkers as Emma approached the Bethesda Fountain, Her stomach churned with anticipation and fear. She'd spent the night researching contract marriages, trying to understand what she was walking into. At exactly 10 o'clock, she spotted him. Even sitting alone on a bench, there was something magnetic about the man in the gray suit. Dark hair caught the morning sunlight, and despite his expensive clothes, he looked approachable rather than intimidating. When he glanced up at her approach, Emma felt her breath catch. Emma Rodriguez. His voice was warm, nothing like the cold businessman she'd imagined. And his eyes, the most striking green she'd ever seen, held the same nervousness she felt. Julian Blackstone. He stood to shake her hand, and Emma was surprised by how normal it felt. They sat on the bench together, both stealing glances at each other. Julian ran his hand through his hair, a gesture that seemed unconscious, vulnerable. "I know this is insane," he said finally. Catherine explained the arrangement. She did. "I have to ask, why do you need a wife? You seem like someone who could find a real relationship." Julian's laugh held no humor. "My grandfather's will. I have to be married before my 30th birthday to inherit the family business. I turned 30 in 11 months. Can't you just find someone to marry normally?" "I've tried." His voice grew quiet. "When people find out about my family's money, everything changes. They start seeing dollar signs instead of me. I need someone who views this as business, someone I can trust." Emma studied his profile as he watched the fountain. "What kind of business are we talking about? Technology, software development, nothing too exciting." Something in his tone told Emma he was being deliberately vague, but she let it slide. They talked for an hour about practical matters. She would move into his penthouse. They would attend social functions together. The contract could be terminated early if either felt uncomfortable. "Can I ask why you need the money?" Julian's question was gentle, not invasive. Emma told him about her mother, about the medical bills that had consumed her life. Julian listened, without judgment, and when she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "I lost my parents when I was 16, he said finally. "Car accident. I understand what it feels like to be desperate to save someone you love." That evening, Emma sat beside her mother's hospital bed, holding Catherine's contract. Awake but weak. "Mia, what's troubling you? You have that look?" Emma couldn't explain the marriage proposal. "I might have found a way to pay for your treatment, Mama. A job opportunity." Rosa squeezed her daughter's hand. "Whatever it is, I trust you. You've always been wise." Walking home to her tiny Brooklyn apartment, Emma thought about Julian. There had been something genuine about him that made her want to trust him despite the bizarre circumstances. Her phone buzzed. Text from Catherine. "Have you made your decision? My client is prepared to wire the first payment immediately." Emma looked at the Manhattan skyline glittering in the distance. Somewhere in those towers was a man who needed her help as much as she needed his. She texted back, "I accept." Do we begin? The next afternoon, Emma found herself in a law office on the Upper East Side, signing papers that would change her life forever. Julian sat across from her, occasionally catching her eye, each glance sending an unexpected flutter through her chest. The lawyer explained each clause carefully. Legal marriage in every sense, except emotional. She would take Julian's name publicly, but could revert after the year ended. Monthly allowances beyond the lump sum payments. The final clause, Mr. Henderson said, states that should either party develop genuine feelings, they must declare this immediately to avoid complications. Emma felt heat rise in her cheeks as she signed her name for the last time. After the lawyers left, Julian and Emma stood alone in the conference room. "So," Julian said, straightening his tie nervously, "we should talk about the wedding. Catherine, suggest something small." Julian and Emma interrupted. "I need you to know I won't pretend to be something I'm not. I don't know how to act like a socialite." He smiled, and again Emma felt that strange flutter. "Good, I don't want you to change. I want you to be exactly who you are." As they walked out together, Emma realized she'd just agreed to marry a stranger, but for the first time in weeks, she felt hope. Neither of them knew that in 72 hours, Emma would discover exactly how famous her new husband was. and their carefully planned arrangement would become far more dangerous than either had imagined. Emma had been Mrs. Blackstone for exactly 72 hours when her world exploded. She was unpacking her few belongings in the guest bedroom of Julian's penthouse when her phone rang. Her best friend Lucia's voice practically screamed through. The speaker, Emma Rodriguez. What the hell's going on? Your face is all over the internet. What are you talking about? Emma set down a framed photo of her and her mother. Check your phone right now. Someone photographed you and Julian Blackstone. Leaving City Hall, do you have any idea who you married? Emma's hands shook as she opened her browser and typed Julian's name. The results made her sink onto the bed in shock. Hundreds of articles appeared. Tech genius Julian Blackstone's secret wedding. The mysterious bride of America's youngest. Billionaire. Black Tech CEO marries unknown artist. Julian wasn't just wealthy. He was the founder and CEO of Black Tech Industries, one of the fastest growing technology companies in the world. At 28, he was worth over $3 billion and regularly appeared on magazine covers as one of America's most eligible bachelors. Emma scrolled through photos of Julian at red carpet events, technology conferences, charity galas. In every picture, he looked polished and confident, surrounded by celebrities and business moguls. This wasn't the nervous man she'd met in Central Park. Her phone rang again. Catherine Mills. Emma, prepare yourself. The media attention is going to be intense. Julian is handling interviews with his publicist, but you'll need to be ready for public appearances. Catherine, you said he was prominent in business circles? You didn't tell me he was famous? You felt it was better for you to know him as a person first, without the influence of his celebrity status. Emma stared at her reflection in the bedroom mirror. She looked small and out of place among the expensive furnishings. I need to talk to Julian. She found him in his home office, standing at floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. His shoulders were tense, and he was speaking rapidly into his phone. No interviews, not yet. We need to control the narrative. I don't care what they're offering, yes. I understand the stock implications. He turned when she entered, ending the call abruptly. For a moment, they stared at each other across the vast room. You lied to me, Emma said quietly. Julian's jaw tightened. Never lied. Software development? Nothing too exciting. We're worth $3 billion, Julian. You're on the cover of Forbes. Would it have changed your decision? His voice was sharp, defensive. Would you have signed that contract if you'd known? I don't know, maybe, but you should have told me. Julian moved toward her, his expression softening. Emma, I've spent my entire adult life with people wanting things from me. Money, connections, status. When I met you in the park, you looked at me like I was just ... person. Do you have any idea how rare that is? Before Emma could respond, Julian's phone buzzed. Glanced at it and his face went pale. What is it? He showed her the screen. A text from an unknown number. Congratulations on your marriage, Julian. I think it's time we talked. Your old friend Marcus. Julian's hands were shaking. Emma had never seen him look afraid before. Who's Marcus? Someone I thought was dead. Julian's voice was barely a whisper. Someone who could destroy everything we've built. Penthouse's intercom crackled to life. The doorman's voice. Mr. Blackstone, there's a gentleman here to see you. Says his name is Marcus Webb. He's quite insistent. Emma watched the color, drain from Julian's face completely. Julian, what aren't you telling me? He looked at her with eyes full of secrets and fear. Marcus Webb was my business partner when I started Black Tech. We had a falling out 5 years ago over some questionable decisions. He threatened to expose things that could bring down the company. What kind of things? Julian's phone buzzed. Again, another text. I'm coming up. We have so much to catch up on, and I can't wait to meet your lovely wife. The elevator dinged in the distance. Julian, Emma's voice was urgent. What kind of things? Julian grabbed her hands, his grip desperate. Emma, whatever Marcus tells you about me, about what I've done, please remember that I'm not that person anymore. Please don't leave me. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, getting closer. Emma stared into Julian's terrified eyes, realizing that the man she'd married wasn't just hiding his wealth. He was hiding something much darker, and whatever it was had just walked through their front door. Marcus Webb stood in Julian's living room like he owned it, his smile sharp as broken glass. Tall and lean, with prematurely silver hair, he had the kind of predatory charm that made Emma's skin crawl. "Julian, my old friend." Marcus spread his arms wide in mock celebration. This must be the lovely Emma, the artist who stole America's most eligible bachelor's heart. Julian stepped protectively in front of Emma. "What do you want, Marcus?" "Now, what I've always wanted. What's rightfully mine." Marcus circled them like a shark. 50% of black tech. The half you stole from me 5 years ago. I didn't steal anything. You made your choice when you wanted to sell weapons-grade surveillance software to hostile governments. Emma's blood went cold. "Weapons?" Marcus laughed, a sound like nails. "On glass?" "Oh, she doesn't know, does she?" Sweet Emma doesn't know that her husband built his empire on technology that's been used to track and eliminate political dissidents across 3 continents. "That's enough." Julian's voice was deadly. "Quiet, is it?" Marcus pulled out his phone, showing them a video. "Because I have documented proof of every transaction, every meeting, every decision you made to prioritize profit over human lives. The media would have a field day." Emma stared at Julian, searching his face for denial that never came. "Tell me he's lying." Julian's silence was answer enough. Marcus continued, savoring their pain. "Julian, you have 48 hours to transfer 50% of black tech to me, or this goes public. Your company dies, your reputation dies, and your lovely wife discovers exactly what kind of monster she married." After Marcus left, the penthouse felt like a tomb. Emma sat on the couch, staring at her hands while Julian paced like a caged animal. "Say something," he finally pleaded. "How many people died because of software you created?" Julian stopped pacing. "I don't know." Tried not to think about it. "I told myself it was just technology, that what people did with it wasn't my responsibility. But you knew." Yes, the word came out broken. "I knew, and I did it anyway, because I was 23 and desperate, and Marcus convinced me it was the only way to compete with the big tech companies." Emma felt sick. "The night we met, you said you understood desperation. Is this what you meant? Partly?" Julian sat across from her, his hands shaking. "May, I know how this sounds, but I'm not that person anymore. It's been 5 years trying to atone for what I did. Black Tech's current projects, the AI research, the medical applications, they're meant to save lives, not end them. Does that bring back the people who died?" Julian's face crumpled. "No, nothing can do that." Emma stood up, needing distance. "I can't do this. I can't be married to someone who don't." Julian's voice was raw. "Please. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know that meeting you, marrying you, it's made me remember who I wanted to be before everything got so twisted." Emma turned to face him, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Mother is alive because of blood money. You understand what that means? Every breath she takes is connected to someone who died. Then help me make it right." "How?" Julian stood, moving closer, but not touching her. "Help me destroy Marcus. He still has contacts in the weapons trade. If we can expose him, maybe we can stop him from hurting more people. And if we can't, then I'll give him what he wants. Half of black tech. But Emma, if I do that, he'll use it to create weapons that will make what we did 5 years ago look like child's play." Emma closed her eyes, feeling the weight of an impossible choice. Stay and help the man she was falling in love with, despite his blood-soaked past. Or walk away and let a monster loose on the world. Her phone buzzed. Text from the hospital. "Emma, your mother is asking for you. Her condition has improved remarkably. The treatment is working, Dr. Patterson." Emma showed Julian the message. He read it and smiled sadly. At least something good came from all this darkness. "Julian," Emma said quietly, "if we do this, if we try to stop Marcus, I need you to promise me something. Anything. After it's over, after we've done whatever needs to be done, you tell the truth. All of it. To the authorities, to the media, to everyone. No more secrets, no more lies." Julian's face went pale. Emma, that could mean prison. it could mean losing everything. Some things are more important than everything. Julian looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, I promise. As Emma moved into his arms, she wondered if she was making the biggest mistake of her life, or if this was what real love looked like, choosing to walk into hell together rather than facing heaven alone. Neither of them noticed the small recording device Marcus had left behind, still transmitting their conversation to a man who already held all the cards. 24 hours before Marcus's deadline, Emma stood in the FBI field office in Manhattan, her hands trembling as she placed the recording device on Agent Sarah Chun's desk. "We found this after he left," Emma explained. "Marcus has been listening to everything we've said." Agent Chen, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, studied the device. "Mr. Blackstone, you understand that by cooperating with us, you're likely facing serious federal charges." Julian nodded, his face calm, despite the storm Emma knew was raging inside him. "I understand. It's time I face the consequences of what I did. The weapons-grade software you developed was used in 17 countries. Our conservative estimate is over 300 deaths directly attributable to surveillance enabled by your technology." Emma felt the number hit her like a physical blow. 300 people. Fathers, mothers, children. All gone because the man she loved had chosen profit over conscience. "We can offer you immunity in exchange for helping us build a case against Marcus Webb and his network," Agent Chen continued. "But Mr. Blackstone, once we move on this, there's no going back. I don't want immunity." Julian's words shocked everyone in the room. "I want to pay for what I did. But first, I want to help you stop Marcus." The plan was simple in concept, terrifying in execution. Julian would meet Marcus at the agreed location, a warehouse in Queens, wearing a wire. Emma would wait with the FBI team, ready to coordinate the takedown, but Marcus had anticipated their betrayal. "Julian, Julian, Julian." Marcus stood in the center of the empty warehouse, his voice echoing off the walls. "Did you really think I wouldn't know about your wife's visit to the FBI? I have people everywhere, old friend." Through her earpiece, Emma heard Julian's sharp intake of breath. "Marcus, it doesn't have to be this way." "Oh, but it does." Marcus stepped into the light, and Emma could see he wasn't alone. 6 men with assault rifles surrounded Julian. "You see, I've decided 50% of black tech isn't enough. I want it all, and I want you dead." Agent Chen was already signaling her team to move in, but they were too far away. Emma watched through the warehouse windows as Marcus raised a gun toward Julian. Without thinking, Emma broke from the FBI position and ran toward the warehouse. She could hear Agent Chen shouting behind her, could hear her team coordinating, but all she could focus on was getting to Julian. She burst through the warehouse doors just as Marcus pulled the trigger. Time slowed to crystalline clarity. Emma saw Julian's eyes widen as he spotted her, saw him dive toward her as the bullet intended for his chest found her shoulder instead, saw Marcus's shock turn to rage as FBI agents swarmed the building. Emma hit the concrete floor hard, Julian's arms around her, his hands pressing against her shoulder as blood seeped between his fingers. "Emma, why?" he whispered, his voice breaking. "Why would you do that?" Through the pain, she managed to smile. "Because some things are more important than everything, remember?" 6 months later, Emma sat in the visitor's room of a federal correctional facility, her shoulders still stiff from the bullet wound but healing. Across from her, Julian looked older, thinner, but somehow more at peace than she'd ever seen him. "How's your mother?" he asked, the same question he'd asked every visit. "Good. The experimental treatment worked." "She's in remission." Emma paused. "She asks about you. She wants to know when you're coming home." "Emma, you need to move on. Build a real life with someone who deserves you." She leaned forward, taking his hands through the bars. "I tried that. Turns out I only want a life with you. Even after everything you know about me, especially after everything I know about you." Emma squeezed his hands. "Julian, what you did was terrible. What you're doing now, cooperating with law enforcement, helping them dismantle the entire network, testifying in international courts, that matters too." Julian was quiet for a long moment. The prosecutor says, if I keep cooperating, I might be out in 3 years instead of 10. I'll be here. Emma, I'll be here, she repeated firmly. We made vows, remember? For better for worse, I plan to keep them. 2 years later, Emma stood in the same Central Park spot where she and Julian had first met, but this time she wasn't alone. Julian walked toward her, dressed in jeans and a simple sweater instead of an expensive suit. He looked nervous, just like that first day. So, he said, sitting beside her on the bench, what do we do now? Emma smiled, pulling out a small canvas she'd been working on. It showed 2 figures walking away from a burning building. There. Hands clasped, their faces turned toward the sunrise. Now we figure out how to be happy, she said. The real way, not the contract way. Julian studied the painting, then looked at her. Emma Rodriguez Blackstone, would you like to marry me? For real this time? Emma laughed, the sound carrying across the park like music. I thought you'd never ask. As Julian kissed her beside the Bethesda fountain, Emma thought about the strange alchemy of love, how it could transform blood money into redemption, how it could turn to broken people into something whole. Their story had begun with desperation and deception, but it was ending with something much rarer. It was ending with truth, the end.